Alright, thanks for checking out another one of our videos. This is going to be how to test and how to repair a Gallagher S17 solar. We don't get very many of these in as a whole unit. Most people, the problem usually lies within the board somewhere. That's usually about 80-90% of the problem, unless they got a really weak battery that where the unit won't power on at all. You know, that sort of story. But you know, anybody can check a battery if they got the right meter to check it with. Or another good working unit, they can swap batteries around and make sure that the unit will power on. But we're going to do that. We're also going to change out this rubber switch cover. This is all dry rotted, and it's, you know, the tip's all rotted off there, so we'll replace that as well. They're pretty easy to change. So that's what we're going to do with this thing. Before we get started, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, we'd really appreciate that. If you got one of these you want to get worked on, we'll be happy to take a peek at it for you. If you got neighbors that got one, these are pretty good units. I mean, they're around for a long time. They had about 21 year run with this model, somewhere in that range here in the States anyways. They came out with the S15 back in 1997 to about 1999, and about 99-2000 they changed over to the S17, and they kept that around to about 2015 or 16 or so, and then they came out with the S22 about that time, and they continued on to about 2019. Now it's, you know, phased out as well. So this particular unit, the whole unit is discontinued as a whole, but all the parts are made for it. You know, you can get anything you want for them. So we do stock parts for these. I mean, if there's a part you need, just call us. You know, we'll get you whatever part you're looking for, or whatever we can help you out with there. And we do put 1.5 year warranties on the parts that you buy from us, so you get a 1.5 year warranty on there. Lightning's part of the warranty. We don't cover water damage or malfunctions or external damage. You know, drop kicked by a mule, head butted by a cow, ran over by a tractor. We don't cover that sort of stuff. But any normal wear and tear on a part that we sell you, you get a 1.5 year warranty on. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to open it up. I don't even know what's wrong with it. They didn't really have much to say about it. It says it doesn't work, so that could be anything. So we're going to flip it on. All right, the light is flashing, but it's really slow. But that could be the light because it's got a. Didn't help too much. The light's still flashing, but a little sensor on the side here that's supposed to pick at the amount of sunlight. And it's a little slow. So typically, in a well-lit room, it should flash pretty fast, like every second or two. So if it's flashing slow, usually that means you got a battery issue to start with. So 6-volt battery inside these. So we're going to test the battery, and if you got a meter, if we're going to test along here, get your meter. It can be analog or digital. I prefer the digital ones, but just set to DC volts, or look for that symbol at the V or the dotted line. That's a symbol for DC. So set it on, this is an auto range meter, so I just put the DC, it auto ranges to whatever setting on DC range, but just put it on like a 10-volt setting, and so that way you can read up to 10 volts with it. So we're going to test this here. 5.8, so it's a little low. Fully charged, these things hit about 6.5, 6.6 or so when they're fully charged. So now low battery could be a symptom of another issue. Now what I'm going to do with this, I've got a power supply here. It's got an amp draw meter on it, and how I load test these batteries to see if they're going to be any good, and I'll show you here in a second. I'm going to hook this up. I'm going to put my power supply to a like 7-volt range, and we're going to connect across here. Scoot my power supply over a little bit so I can reach onto it. And if this battery is any good, if there's no cells are bad in it, my amp gauge on my power supply should climb. And as it charges up, the amp gauge will fall. So here, I'll show you. See, the amp gauge is at 0.9 amp draw, 0.8. See, as it's charging up, it slowly falls. So as I get to like 0.1, 0.2 amps or whatever, that's going to be closer and closer to that 6.5 volt range. Eventually it's going to get to, you know, right at 0 basically, or 0.1. That's where it's not drawing my power supply down anymore. And then I've got then I know, okay, it should be fully charged. But that battery is good, it's just low. Now, a low battery could be a symptom of another issue, which could be a solar panel issue, or maybe the board's got a problem, maybe there's a bad draw on the board, dragging the battery down, or maybe they just went too many days without much sunlight and just drew it down too far. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to check this solar panel out. The easiest, you can check the solar panel 2 different ways, but I'm going to show you the easy way to do it. Just check across the battery wires. You can unplug this wire from the solar panel right from here. You can unplug that. Just kind of pull on it, but man, it is hard to get on those little contacts right there. There's a little bad glare. Hold on, turn the light off for a second. Still a bad glare. But anyway, there's 2 little contacts on there, and you can get it right there sometimes. Right there, or the red and black going. You can get there sometimes, but man, it's pain. It's tricky. So here's the easy way to do it. And you can't do this with every solar powered unit. You can only do it on like certain size units. When they get to a certain wattage, you really need actual sunlight, not a bright light, you know, fluorescent light bulb, flashlight, big hot lamp. They don't work real well with them when you get to a certain size wattage. But these small ones like this, you can do it with these in your shop, garage, or wherever, as long as you've got some good light in the room. We got a pretty bright light over the head of the bench. So what we're going to do is make sure it's turned off. I'm just going to flip it over this way so I can get my hands free to use this handle to hold it down. Or if you're on, like, say, the bed of your pickup truck or whatever, just close the lid a little bit and use that to kind of hold your wires for you. I can't lay it like this because I got something in front of here that's blocking part of the light over the bench. So I'm going to tilt mine back. Basically, you just need to get it to where it's looking up at the light. Make sure it's turned off. And we're going to put your meter back to DC volts. Put it like on a 12 volt setting. Or no, 10 volts should be fine. Because these panels on their own read about 10, 11 volts or so in direct sunlight. But when you plug it in to the board, and we're testing right here at the battery leads, there's a regulator that brings that voltage from, say, 10, 11 volts down to around 7. So that's what we're going to check next. We're going to put this meter on DC volts. And we're going to test across here. Make sure a unit is turned off so the panel's not being dragged down by it. 7.1, so the solar panel's good. You don't have to hold it there, just real quick, test it, and you're done. You know, and sometimes out in the sunlight, the heat of the sun will make it fall a little bit, but just real quick test like that and read 7, you're good. So that means the solar panel is getting the power from the panel to the board to the battery. So why is the battery low? I don't know. Maybe this went too many days without many sunlight, or maybe they bought a new battery and didn't let it charge in the sun for 3-4 days. You know, because you never know how long these batteries been sitting on a shelf. Come in there for a month, a week, 8 months. You just never know. So that's why they recommend to let it charge in the sun for a few days. So I've got a new battery sitting here. Since my power supply is being used, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave it hooked up, and I'm going to hook up this battery to it. So let me bring it over here. I do see a little corrosion on this one, so maybe that's why they had to replace the battery. Maybe old battery corroded or something, I don't know. This terminal's been replaced already once. All right, so now we're going to recheck it. I'm going to turn it back on, see it. Let me see what this battery is. I think this battery is good. Let me check it real quick and find out. Oh, let's see. 6.4. So this battery is good. Now the one thing real quick as well, the battery, if the unit's flashing like normal, like every second or two, and your battery's fine, The battery didn't have anything to do with the output of the unit, with it putting out voltage here. It has nothing to do with that. All it does is allows the unit to power on. That's all it does. All the output stuff with the shocking, all that's done with the board. It has nothing to do with the battery. So if your unit's flashing like normal but not putting out, issues in the board, not the battery. So don't go spend 20, 30 bucks on a battery when your old battery is probably just fine. All right, so flip the switch on. You see it's flashing like normal again. It's flashing like every second or so. So that's what a good charged battery will allow it to do. But I don't hear it clicking. I don't hear a little ticking sound coming from it. So that's a bad sign. So I'm gonna put this meter on, this fence tester on here. We're gonna test the output. Huh. Or maybe it is clicking. I can hear it. It's just really faint, but I'm getting 9,000 volts out of this thing. I can't hear it clicking. I start looking, but 8.9. Oh, get better connection there. 9.4, 9.5. So the unit still works fine. Huh. So we got a bad battery issue. Well, that's first. Usually it's never just a plain old battery. Well, let's go to the next thing that we need to do. We need to change out this rubber switch cover, which we do stock them. They're not super expensive. They're a couple dollars for one. There's a new rubber switch cover. And say your circuit board was fried and corroded or too far gone because water got in here and got to the unit. When you buy a brand new board, it comes with a new rubber switch cover just in case you need one. If you don't need one, I'd keep it and put it in your glove box, tool box, because these things do over time rot away because of the rubber, and the sun beats on them over the years and it wears out. Okay, so let's unplug the battery out of here. So we need that hooked up, and you want to know that's good. So we need to get this rubber switch cover off. So we need a flat screwdriver. You need to use you don't need nothing big. A little one like this will work. And this one feels really hard and crusty. Usually kind of pliable still, but this one's really hard. So it's probably going to break and just come right apart. But you got to dig in there behind it and kind of pry it out. Usually, if you're careful, you can pull it out in one piece, which this one came out in one piece. Yeah, but see, it is hard as a rock almost. So let me get you the new one. See, the new one, real pliable. This one is pliable, but a lot stiffer. See, and it's just crumpling and coming apart. So yeah, I need a new one of those. So that's a nice cheap fix. So if yours comes apart, see, it's got this little groove right here. This goes on the inside of the case. This sticks on the outside of the case. Sometimes when they get too dry rotted, you pull them out and this back half here will stay stuck inside there and you'll have a hard time getting out from the outside. Take it apart, open up the unit, take the circuit board out, get the rest of it out, put your board back in, and then put this back in there. So the way I do it, the way it makes it easy for me, I put the switch in the off position, kind of get up in there and push the bottom of it in first. Get kind of shoved in there a little bit, and then take that little screwdriver and just kind of work it around there. It's pretty pliable, so it goes right in, and that's it. So now it's nice and set up from the water and everything. So this didn't have a circuit board problem this time. Oh, if you're kind of curious on how to open this thing, sometimes I open them up all the time. So, I mean, I've done it, I don't open it up all the time. But I've done it enough times that I can do it pretty easy. Let me put this back in here so I can show you from scratch without these wires getting pinched or anything. All right, to get it open, this is how I do it. You got these two little push tabs in the back, one right there, one right there. And it's kind of got a lip to it. You got to get this back case up and around over those. So what I do, I take my two thumbs, I push these two tabs in, and push it against the case, and hold it. And as you're holding it, push a little pressure downwards with your thumb that you're pushing in, push down to hold it in place, and take these two fingers on the side of the case and lift up. So you're basically pushing and lifting. So you push, Push down with your thumbs to hold that piece in place, and lift up with your fingers. As you lift up, you kind of push down with your thumbs to help give you a little more leverage and power to lift it up, pull it open. Now, sometimes they will be gunk built up between the case down here or down inside here. So what you do is my trick is just smack this a little bit on both sides to kind of break it up a little bit, and that will usually help. So that's it on this video. I guess it would have been more fun if we could have had done a repair on the board, but luckily it was just looks like it needed a new switch cover and recharge the battery. So that's it for this one. So hopefully you like this kind of stuff. Subscribe to our channel. Send us things for repair. We'll happily look at them. We work on all brands and ages. 18-month repair warranties that we do. 18-month warranties on the parts that you buy from us. And we work on all brands and ages. So until next time, see you later.